Felipe Toledo, Kolohe Andino and Brett Simpson going absolutely loony out here at Super Tubos, and we're now setting up for the second heat of the fourth round, looking for another quarter-finalist out of these three. Nat Young, Joel Parkinson and Frederico Morais doing battle here in the last heat of the day, a day of upsets. Don't forget the post-show, the WSL post-show is coming up after this heat. Joe Tepel, Pete Mel and Strider Wozalewski will be going through all the big upsets, and of course the clutch performances. Gabriel, despite not having a victory here in Portugal, this is, in recent times, it's become one of his pet events. He's had 3 semi-final finishes here and a quarter-final. As we see Frederico now using his priority. He finds the barrel deep in the tube, still running. He gets spat out. And what a way to start the heat. Every time he's pulled the jersey on in the Moche Rip Curl Pro in 2015, he's gone out there and found a really solid first ride.
What an amazing way to just inject some energy back into the crowd. It's getting dark. Temperatures are starting to go down a little bit. We even have umbrellas. And Frederico setting the crowd back on fire with a really nice barrel.
He liked it. How's the claim?
Watch this thing gut out right there. Pretty hollow with that lower tide. He was way deep. And that wave got cleaner as it got longer. So right when you saw a little bit of friffle, it went back into clear water. Watch the second half of this barrel. A little bit of chunder he had to go through, and look how clean that thing just spit him right out. It's going to be a big score.
Chunder that he had to go through. He's got some chunder on his back as well. That wave just vomited on him. And down the line on the left-hander, we had Joel Parkinson and Nat Young up.
What's going on there?
We'll see in a moment. But we're waiting on the number to come through for Frederico Morais. And it's going to be a good one for sure. His rivals, they had a couple of waves before him, but both of them are hanging on to throwaways at this stage. And he starts this heat just as he did the last, a 9.13.
He's got priority again.
Well, just over 27 minutes to go, and Joel Parkinson finds one on the inside without priority. Almost pushes through that curtain, but he takes a fall. So they can get very close to Fanning, and Medina even has the opportunity to take the ratings lead going into the final event now with a victory here in Portugal. Just under 24 minutes to go. Joel Parkinson on the inside finds some cover. This wave's going to shut down though, and it'll still be Frederico Morais out in front.
That feels like a year ago now. It's been a long day, but we talked about how, you know, probably Mick Fanning and Adriana are going to take care of business, at least get into the quarters. Shocking that didn't happen.
Well, here we go. Frederico taking off once again. He finds some cover and is able to find an exit as well. He won't go near his first score, a 9.13, but it'll be a tidy backup.
So such an exciting day. So many things unfolding. A lot of stories. The world title story obviously heading the way, but the local wild cards, Basco, Frederico, just it's really stirring the pot. And Frederico in this heat here taking a quick lead, but Joel Parkinson just quietly really prowling around. He wants to get the win for this event. I think he is so eager to make a big splash when the waves get big.
Well, 19 minutes to go. Some movement in the lineup here. Surfers trying to get themselves into position. It's Nat Young with priority, and he's going to swing on this one. He grabs the rail, pulls into the barrel, has a clean line through the pit. He almost finds his exit, but just falls short of riding out of that pit. Just over 18 and a half minutes to go.
Luckily, I won in cash, and that made it pretty hard for me or for the other guys to win. So yeah, I'm super stoked.
The waves are on a level from 1 to 10. Some of those tubes out there obviously scoring in pretty well. Where are you giving them?
Riviera is like an 11 out of a 10. Yeah, I always compare everywhere to where I'm from, and it's pretty hard to find waves that are worse than where I'm from, even anywhere on this tour. So I'm stoked.
There you go. Well, with that win, it's got to feel good. A little bit of momentum, and obviously you're looking to take this event down.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a...
During that interview, Nat Young, he lit a wave up, got himself barreled, Ross, and he did take to the air.
Well, almost came out of that right, and now he's on his front foot. Goofy footers love to face the wall, so that left-hander really did well for him to kind of plow through. So amazing barrel, and that air reverse was really nice from Nat Young. Wild how he really managed to land in that tight transition. And now Frederico Morais trying to get a backup score for that 9.13. Not all the way complete with that last reverse. So Nat Young's going to be back in the mix.
Nat Young. So we're waiting on that number to drop. It comes through at an 8.83 for Nat Young.
Watch the reaction. Not exactly elated.
No, he's not buzzing, is he?
That was one of the better errors I've seen from Nat. That was such a tight transition to stuff that reverse into. Extremely agile to fit that maneuver in. I wouldn't mind watching it again. I mean, he's psyched. It's an 8.83. He's more than back in the heat, but you could see he wanted another half a point out of that thing.
I've just loved that combination of barrels and airs.
Let's take a close look, Ronnie. Really deep. Wow, he is as deep as you could get in that little thing. It came flying right over the foam ball, but watch this air reverse. Take a look at the back end of his board. Amazing how he stuffed it in that tight transition. You know, you would have thought for sure he's going to poke the tail and go over the handlebars, but, you know, he shifted his weight perfectly.
So you've got to compare that to Frederico's first wave, the 9.13. Definitely a size difference. And that's obviously where the judges are seeing more points. But here goes Nat once again. Always so explosive on the backhand. That wave just doesn't really serve up too much. He only needs a 4.898 to get into the lead. But he might still be chasing that number with just over 14 minutes to go.
You know, I really liked that air, but, you know, I'm guessing the judges gave him the, you know, most of those points from the tube ride.
Well, here goes Nat again. Without priority, willing to have a look at a couple of these waves. I kind of like doing that sometimes. Just sort of, you take the air reverse off the tube, off the ride completely, and just judge that barrel. It was still going to be a decent number.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the other thing you got to do is think, what if Frederico had got a section on his ride and done a decent turn?
9.13, it's right. I mean, how much the ceiling's right there with the 9.13. You can't add a whole lot to it. If he would have leaned into a really hefty hack or an air reverse.
Barely get into the position to do some backhand tube riding. He could barely turn his head in that direction over his left shoulder. But here we go. This is Frederico now. Without priority, keep him busy. Looking to drop a 4.67 to push further ahead of his rivals. A medium-sized wave, but he definitely got a bit of damage done.
I'm pretty, I think it's interesting how Frederico, he's really traversing back and forth, up and down the sandbar, looking for open face wave, and he's found it. This is down to the south a little bit more. Nice start, vertical snap. Pretty. I like that he was able to mix it up. That's rare right now with the low tide. He was actually able to open up into a carve on that second turn. The judges will like that, so that's going to be a solid backup score, starting to tighten screws a little bit on the boys.
Just over 10.5 minutes to go. We're waiting on those scores to come through for Frederico. He gets an 5.83. So Nat Young now after a 6.14, and Joel Parkinson's requirement growing, but Joel paddling into a good size set wave, and some frustration that that one just doesn't hold open. It shuts down on the sandbar and he kicks through the back. So just over 10 minutes remaining. Nat Young took the left on the same wave, and he found some cover. Needs a 6.14. He's still working this one over, Ross.
Well, I know Nat would have liked to have finished that wave off a little better and obviously finished that last cutback maneuver, but the barrel on its own, right there, you know, it's in the zone for 6.14. He may have turned the heat. Yeah, so Joel, you know, is starting to run out of time to try and find a pair of waves, but here's the good news. The paddle back out takes all of 30 seconds, so it's not out of the question.
Well, here we go. Morais using priority on this wave. Good sell from Nat. That one shuts down.
Nat Young got a nice throaty little barrel, but couldn't come out of that last cutback to finish that wave off, it may have made the difference for him. Got a 5.67, so still requiring that pesky little 6.14. Those can be tough to find, but it's tough to find those backup numbers now. You know, pretty crafty from Frederico. He got that 5.83 on that open left, but it's all about these guys right here. And he started out with a bang. Beautiful long tube, comes flying out, and this is right out of the gate, out of the gates. I love this wave. We were even thinking maybe this wave was the best wave of the heat because of that air right there. I mean, that was crazy how technical that air was. But this is the backup score I was talking about, Frederico. Look at that open water he found. That third turn, he actually threw a carve down, which is hard to do in a low tide. So right now, it's a battle of the backups between him and Nat.
So many big stories coming out of day 6 here. So we see a nice little insider standing up, Joel Parkinson, on the right side of the peak. And he tucks in. He's going to find some cover, gets the exit. That'll be Joel's best wave easily. Looking to break combination here and give himself a shot coming into the final 3 minutes.
He was looking to get behind the peak on a left-hander, so he let that wave go, but that was always going to be a tough wave to try and find a 6.14 on. For Joel on the other side of the peak, yeah, a pretty good little barrel. So, you know, it's probably going to be a medium score. Not sure it's going to be enough to break the combo. Maybe just.
He gets a 5.93. A 5.93 for Joel. So he's now chasing a 9.04. He's given himself a shot with 2.5 minutes here, Ross.
Hold the phone, one last shot. No, doesn't like it.
10 seconds. Nat lets that one roll through. Still hanging on to priority. 5 seconds to go. The onside announcer is counting this one down. And the Portuguese crowd is erupting for their man.
That's pretty cool. Die-hard fans running. It's nearly dark out.
Well, he's been super impressive, the 23-year-old. Really smart decision-making in his heats. Hasn't let the big names get the better of him. Hasn't been overwhelmed by the situation. I thought there might be a little bit of a kind of a come-down factor after overcoming Mick Fanning, but straight back to business.
Kind of owned the day, didn't he? Had that big old hack with Mick Fanning, took out the leader, and now he's really competed so smart and well in this heat, and he's skipped that dangerous round 5 and is into the quarters.